feel like what I'm about to say makes no sense, but what I'm saying is happening. This response curve, 1.3, is going through 3 speeds as I move my stick. It starts at 268, it goes to 269, and it ends at 270, but it ends at 270 in the front of my input, and the rest of it stays 270 unless I add an outer threshold to it. Each position on the outer threshold adds a single stage of acceleration to the back half of the input. I think our inputs are split up into 10 stages of possible acceleration. Like there's 10 spots where acceleration can happen, and whether or not it is happening and how it is happening is reliant upon the response curve and the outer threshold. This response curve goes through 3 speeds, but other response curves go through more speeds, and they could possibly accelerate at different rates within each section. I, I don't want to, I can elaborate on it, but I don't want to because if I elaborate on it, I can lose focus. When the outer threshold acceleration rate is overlapping with the response curve acceleration rate, it basically makes it so that your input skips a digit at that stage of acceleration. When I'm playing at the highest 5 and 1.3, if I play at 2 below the lowest 2 outer threshold, it's been 2 weeks since I said everything that I was saying beforehand. I'm talking over what I said in the past because what I was saying in the past is not completely accurate. I was misunderstanding something I was noticing and I thought it meant something else. When I'm playing at 2 below the lowest 2 outer threshold, it feels like my input is extremely aggressive because it's accelerating at the 4th position on the back half of my input, and my response curve is going through 3 speeds. So I have 3 speeds in the front, 4 speeds in the back, and somehow that makes my input feel extremely aggressive at the 4th position. It's either that or it's the fact that the physical outer threshold of the PS5 controller is around the 3rd position or the 2nd position in the back, and by making it the 4th position, it's too close to the middle of the stick for the PS5 controller. I interpreted this aggression as overlap in the response curve, but it's not actually overlapping. It's just the position where it's accelerating that makes it feel weird. The outer threshold positions that felt good to me as I was going through all the outer thresholds was consistently the 3rd position in the back or the 4th position in the front. So I either had 3 in the front, 3 in the back, or my entire input was the same speed. Like, I don't know if this makes any sense, but that is what is happening. And if I reduce my dead zone to the lowest 1%, I can make it so that it does not overlap. But then it feels weird because there are gaps. Like my dead zone is also like removing stages of acceleration from the input. I can move my dead zone to the left and it will create additional space in the front where this current outer threshold pattern would not be overlapping with the response curve. If I go to default to outer threshold, it is the same position as 0 dead zone. Default to outer threshold adds acceleration to the entirety of the input to all 10 stages of the possible acceleration like section. I it's information, but I don't know if it's making any sense. I don't know. The only reason I'm messing with the outer threshold is because I'm actually trying to just play with maximum aim assist at this position to see if it is possible. I don't know what to do here, but what I am saying is what is happening. This chart or graph or whatever this is how I figured out that what I was noticing 2 weeks ago was not entirely accurate. There's something weird going on with the outer threshold as it begins to overlap the stages of accelerations that are being blocked by the dead zone, but I'm not sure what it is. I thought it was wrapping around faster, but it sometimes it's in sync with what's going on the graph, and then other times it's like way off position. I'm gonna try and summarize what I've been doing. I'm currently at the second lowest 6, I'm at the third lowest 7, I'm at 1.3. I've been increasing the outer threshold in order to find an increment pattern that allows me to interact with the slow zone of low point 4 when I'm playing at 1.3. The slow zone of the optic is not consistently at low point 4. I had to go to low point 4 when I'm playing at 1.3 because there is no slow zone on this position without the optic. If I go up to roughly like 6 curve or 7 curve, the slow zone is there without the optic, and in order to shrink the shape of the slow zone at those higher curves, you need to increase the optic. Around the point, it was like somewhere in 6%, my initial input became strong enough to interact with the slow zone, but I had to wrap around the outer threshold to get to the fourth position in the front so that my entire input would be increasing at the same amount as my initial input. When I was playing at high 5 and third 7, there was a small gap between my dead zone and the outer threshold. I tried increasing the outer threshold. It created a 1-1-2 pattern, which was bad. I then reduced it back down to the third 7 and then increased my dead zone to the low 6 to the second lowest 6, which is what I'm currently at. If I increase it to the third 6, it creates a 1-1-2 pattern again. I think when I'm playing at the second lowest 6 and the third lowest 7 at 1.3, I think my increment is, I think I'm going at 8, 8, and then I think my third digit is 8.25. I think there's a small amount of overlap, but it's not enough to be disruptive. It makes the sensation of playing at a higher dead zone more tolerable, but it's still weird because I'm playing at a dead zone that is like suppressing my initial inputs. So maybe it's like 7.75, 7.75, 8.25, because the dead zone is making the sensation feel suppressed, but my input is still strong enough to play the game. What I may end up doing is continuing to increase this to make it wrap around again, but I don't know if I want to do that because it'll become unnecessarily quick for the optic. What I'm currently at is kind of okay. I don't want to go below 219 if I'm playing at second lowest 6, third lowest 7 at 1.3 with low point 0.4 optics. Because I struggled to shoot a lifeline with a 1x wingman from range. The exterior aim assist was too solid and I couldn't accelerate through it. But when I'm on character, I can maintain my aim on the character and the slow zone still functions as a slow zone. I can actually interact with the slow zone. I would prefer to play at high 5, but the fact that it slows down for like like basically the same duration as what I feel like there's like a small overlap right now, makes high 5 and third 7 feel weird, but I can't play at high 5 and fourth 7. I don't know what to do from here, but what I'm currently at is decently playable. There is aim assist involved. I still need to make adjustments. I'm not sure what to do. I know if I go below 186, I cannot shoot horizons climbing their gravity lift. If I go to like 219 or 220, I can't shoot lifeline with a 1x wingman. My input is strong enough to go through the shape of the per optic, but like it's not in sync. I don't know what the fuck's going on.